Did you know that in the last 20 years, Canada has experienced more than 80 significant disasters? We do. We have responded to each one. Before, during, and after disaster strikes, the Canadian Red Cross is ready to help. Before a disaster, we work with your local community, planning for the unexpected. We build relationships, both with local government and community-based organizations, and make sure we have the supplies and trained volunteers nearby. During a disaster, Red Cross workers provide assistance for people's basic needs. This includes emergency lodging, reception and information, emergency food, emergency clothing, family reunification, and personal services. After a disaster, the Red Cross is still there. Recent events have highlighted the need for long-term support. Disasters are increasingly larger, more frequent, and cause more damage. Our experience has shown that for those affected by disaster, needs emerge over time. It can take years for people to recover from a disaster, as we're seeing in Alberta following large-scale flooding in 2013, and in Lac-Mégantic, which was devastated by a train derailment that same year. As auxiliary to public authorities, the Red Cross complements existing activities and seeks not to duplicate services. Our response program expands to address not just immediate needs, but also the short and long-term needs of those affected. The Canadian Red Cross has the knowledge, experience, programs, and training available to help individuals and communities address unmet needs and help throughout the recovery process. We place the most vulnerable people and communities at the center of our efforts. This is important as a disaster can strike anywhere at any time. The needs of those in a town, city, or First Nation community must be met in a way that respects culture and experience, builds on community resources, and reflects the priorities of those affected. We collaborate with impacted communities, governments, and other organizations so we can implement specific recovery programs and prioritize them based on the identified needs of the affected area. Throughout the recovery program, we make safety and security paramount. We look for ways to educate impacted communities on safety, violence, and abuse prevention. From individual house fires to widespread events affecting thousands, the Canadian Red Cross provides a vital service for people when they are at their most vulnerable. We are among the first on the ground to help. Then weeks, months, and at times, years later, you will still find the Red Cross working in the affected communities, providing help before, during, and after disasters. That's the Canadian Red Cross.